Hello everyone, thank you for taking the time to join today's webinar, BIM, the benefits and tips for adoption. A recorded version of the webinar will be available to you following today's event. We'd love to hear from you, so please submit your questions at any time during the webinar. You can find the Q&A panel on the left-hand side of your screen, underneath the video feed. Your questions will not be seen by any other attendees. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can, but if you run out of time, we will follow up on any unanswered questions. I'm Paul Mist, the Real Estate Business Partner here at Tilsud. I will be your host for today. Today we'll be discussing BIM, the benefits and tips for adoption. At Tilsud, we take a partnership approach to the way we work with our clients. Our team of multidisciplinary experts has an in-depth technical knowledge and broad experience across a vast range of industries. And I'm pleased to introduce your presenter, Dave Peacock, our Building Advisory Service BIM expert for Tilsud UK. Dave has over 25 years experience in construction, 14 of those years involved in BIM roles on projects and within organisations. He is the East Midlands Chair of the UK BIM Alliance and UK BIM Framework ISO 19650 Guidance Review Committee. So I'll hand things over to you, Dave.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining the webinar today. So as Paul said, I'm Dave Peacock and I'm the Technical Director for Building Advisory Service within the UK for Tilsud. So we'll get on with some of the presentation. Right, so Building Advisory Service was created in 2021 to provide much needed BIM, digital data related services to clients across many sectors of the construction industry throughout the whole life cycle of the building, asset or portfolio. We're able to offer a broad range of services to suit any client or project or organisation. So a few of those on the screen there. So facade inspections, including drones, cloud surveys, LiDAR scanning, building asset portal for hosting all your information for a project or organisation, BIM services across a whole different range of aspects, validation and advisory, information management, and construction supply chain. So onto kind of what we do. So I dig a dive really into the BIM services. So assessment. So we do not undertake any design whatsoever. So we're ideally placed to be an impartial, independent advisor to our clients. We offer advisory, assessment, training, upskilling, accreditation, model verification, data collection, and data hosting services for our clients. Right, so onto a poll, please. So if you could please choose the relevant option in the poll there, and I'll see the results as they come in. Right, so it looks like we're other is the main category at the moment. Oh no, we're coming through. There's a few clients coming on board now. That's good. Yeah, so a mixture of clients and other disciplines seem to be the ones on the call at the moment. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Right, we'll move on then. Right, so before we start to look back at kind of the last 15 years of BIM, I wanted to look at what BIM actually is. So the true meaning is building information modeling, but better information management is used to show that BIM is far more than 3D modeling, which is a common misconception. Many people within the industry now prefer the term information management, with its wider focus on the entire construction industry and across all phases of a project. As stated, BIM is an information management process for defining, creating and delivering structured data and documentation. This allows all parties within the project team or organisation to have access to the right information at the right time. Thanks to Anne Kemp from UK BIM Alliance for some of this information on this slide. So it's 15 years. So 2007 was the release of BS 1192. So that was a pivotal point in the implementation of BIM in the UK. In 2011, the government construction strategy came out, which first mentioned the 2016 BIM mandate. The implementation of the remaining PAS and BS 1192 suite took place from 2013 to 2017, and that incorporated the BIM Level 2 mandate in 2016. The BIM Level 2 standards were then used as a basis for ISO 19650 Parts 1 and 2 standards that were first introduced in 2018, along with the National Annex and Transition Guidance. The Construction Playbook was released in 2020. This sets out key policies and guidance for how public works projects and programs are assessed, procured and delivered. And then Transforming Infrastructure Performance, the Roadmap to 2030 was released in 2021, which incorporates a new information mandate that builds on the 2016 BIM mandate, replacing BIM Level 2 for ISO 19650 adoption. Looking into the future, the BIM Building Safety Bill for high-rise residential buildings is due to be fully implemented in the next 2 years. This defines the collection of fire and safety data, which forms the golden thread of information for each building or asset. Looking at the current standards, so these can be found within UK BIM Framework website. So 19650 Part 1 looks at the overarching concepts and principles of the standard. Part 2 is for the delivery phase of the assets. That includes the National Annex and naming convention, things like that within it. Part 3 is for the operational phase of the assets or projects. Part 4 has not yet been released. This part looks at the information exchange requirements. It was out for public consultation until October last year. These comments will be reviewed, and I expect that to be released by the end of this year, hopefully. Part 5 is related to the security-minded approach for information management, and Part 6 is expected to be released for public consultation in 2022. The transition guidance is PD ISO 19650-0, so that's the transition from BS and PAS 1192 to BSEN 19650. BS 1192 Part 4 and PAS 1192 Part 6 remain current until the relevant ISO standards are included. BS 8536 Part 1 and 2 focus on the codes of practice for asset and facilities management. Now looking at the guidance, so again, UK BIM Framework website. So a suite of ISO 19650 guidance has been produced by the team at UK BIM Framework, which I've been involved with. The guidance builds on the information within the standard to guide all parties within the design team regarding their responsibilities and processes for adoption of ISO 19650. Parts 1, 2 and 3 guidance is currently available. Part 4 and 5 will follow shortly. Guidance parts A to F focus on different aspects of the 19650 process. All the available documents are online on the UK BIM Framework website. Can be downloaded in PDF or searchable online format. Right, so on to another poll. So how would you describe your organisation's BIM journey as it currently stands? So haven't started, beginner, intermediate, advanced. So yeah, if you could please fill that in. Starting to get a few results come through. So yeah, most people on the call seem to be kind of at the beginner stage. So that's good. Everyone's kind of on a similar level, which is, yeah, that's good. Right then, so on to some of the benefits of BIM. So increased collaboration, coordination. So fully embedding the BIM process ensures that all parties use the same information from a common data environment and have access to each other's shared and published data. This helps to remove the silo mentality within projects that we see sometimes. Regular coordination, clash detection meetings help reduce errors and costs throughout the design and build of the project. Reuse of data by all parties. Published data can be reused by all parties in the design team for clash detection, quantity takeoff, scheduling, health and safety, many other purposes. Visualization of models and data. So there's many uses for visualizations, whether it be visualization of models, associated data for client engagement, virtual, augmented reality, dashboarding, helmet displays on site, or simply clearer diagrams within drawings and documentation. The use of BIM caves, touchscreens, things like that for coordination clash detection is becoming more common, especially within contractors. I've seen quite a lot of their kind of offices now include BIM caves and touchscreens for coordination and review sessions. Consistent location of information, sometimes referred to as single source of truth. This could be a single or multiple platforms that hold project information and make up the common data environment, or CDE as it's known. Only one published current version of information should be stored within a CDE. This will allow all parties to use up-to-date information and up-to-date and approved information without risk. That moves us on to audit trail for all deliverables. So each deliverable within a common data environment should go through check, review, approval record for all project deliverables. That's key to an information management or BIM process and is a requirement under 19650. This ensures all project data is fit for the purpose it's intended. On to mitigating risk. So this can take the form of hazard awareness visualizations within models. These are linked to information held on the drawings, schedules, and linked risk register. All data regarding the risk is held within the modeled element rather than disconnected information in multiple documents. Better safety on construction sites. So the health and safety data can be easily added to the models. 4D construction sequencing visualizations assist in reducing dangerous situations before they occur on site. Streamlining facilities management and strengthening building handover. So bringing the facilities management or asset teams into the BIM process earlier in the project allows a better flow of data and understanding from the construction phase to the operational and facilities management stages of the project. And on to the last one, so increased efficiency and productivity. We'll look at that on the next slide. So increased efficiency and productivity of BIM is one of the benefits that people tend to focus on. I've collated some snippets, statements of return on investment and efficiency gains from the adoption of BIM processes. Some results show a 5 or 6 time return on investment. Our own results from test projects show an overall saving of around about 50%. In my experience, the BIM the benefits vary depending on the organisation or project size, complexity, but generally the return on investment for BIM is a short-term investment for long-term efficiency and cost gains. It also opens the opportunity of working for new clients and in new sectors. A word of warning though, I've seen previously that if BIM is only partially implemented, then the efficiency gains may not be made and any investment that has been made in time or money could be lost. So that's an important aspect. Right, on to another poll. What is the most important benefit of BIM for your organisation? So quality, saving costs, improved communication, or the reduction of risk? Let's wait for those results to come through. There we go. Right, so improved communication seems to be, improved quality and communication seems to be the results of that one. That's great. Yeah, quality more so than communication now. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good to know. Right, so on to the next slide. So on to the BIM adoption tips and tricks. So level of information need was a term newly introduced into 19650. This replaces the terms used previously in PAS 1192 and BS 1192, which formed part of BIM Level 2. These were terms such as LOD, LOI, LOMD, level of definition, level of information, level of detail. BSEN 17412 was introduced to define the principles for level of information need. This will become an ISO 7817, expected to take place in the next year, now that the public consultation has ended. Richard, are we still showing the screen?
Oh. Hi, we seem to have had a little bit of a issue. Let me just see if I can fix this quickly.
Thank you.
Very sorry for the problems, people. I'm not sure what's happened. Our presentation seems to have disappeared. Oh, looks like we're back up and running.
Okay. Right, so where did I get that? In my experience, organisations and individuals implement high levels of information and detail for projects without need due to lack of knowledge. So hopefully, yeah, that's something that people are aware of, that just because you're introducing high level of detail, high level of information, it's not always the higher the number, the better. It's got to be suited to your requirements. So if they're introducing high levels of information and detail, this increases the cost, it prolongs programs, and brings unnecessary risk to the project. My feedback is to keep it simple, define who requires what information, when, and how detailed. Now looking at OpenBIM. So OpenBIM formats such as IFC, COBie, BCF, and others are interoperable and not specific to any software providers. I suggest using these formats as much as possible, as well as, or instead of defining specific software formats such as DWG, RVT, etc. These formats allow for future-proofing of models and the associated data way beyond the software release, such as Revit 2022, for example. Supplier capability is key to implementing BIM into a project. The project team need to have the relevant experience, accreditation, and capability to undertake the assigned role on a project. My experience suggests that clients and contractors often ask supply chain to undertake a capability assessment as part of the selection criteria, but unfortunately the people later assigned to the project are not always the ones with that relevant experience and knowledge. Always ensure that the team involved have suitable experience, qualifications, accreditations, or representation at industry bodies. Consistent BIM or ISO 19650 training across an organisation is required to ensure a good level of experience and understanding throughout the wider organisation. Now looking at digital twin. So digital twin is become one of the buzzwords within the industry over the last year or two. Many people do not understand the difference between a 3D model and a true digital twin. The Gemini principles were written way back in 2018 by the Centre for Digital Built Britain to help define what a digital twin is and plan for the national digital twin. I've shown the two definitions of the digital twin according to CDBB on the slide there. A digital twin is a powerful tool for monitoring the live data from the physical asset, ensure that that is what you are getting if that is what you need. If you only need a 3D data-rich model, then specify that rather than a digital twin. Right, so on to some key takeaways. So, just a second. Fully adopting BIM processes and procedures will allow your project or organisation to become more efficient. I've seen many instances of efficiency gains throughout my involvement in BIM on projects and within organisations. If BIM is only partially adopted, then some or all of that efficiency can be lost. Discuss and define what you want or need from BIM. Information management at its core is about defining what information requirements exist within an organisation or project, define what those requirements are, and make them clearly visible to all parties within the supply chain or organisation. Review the standards and guidance documents to understand the role of all parties, including your own. The guidance is a great place to start if you're new to ISO 19650. If you have used PAS or BS 1192 previously, then a transition guide exists which will define the changes. Use a competent supply chain throughout the project or organisation for your BIM implementation journey. As discussed previously, ensure the project team have relevant experience, accreditations, and are part of relevant industry bodies. So make sure that you do those kind of those checks on the supply chain before you start on the project. Subscribe or follow UK BIM Alliance, UK BIM Framework, and ourselves at Tufsud for up-to-date information relating to BIM. And lastly, we're happy to assist with project or organisational BIM advisory. So if you need any assistance, then get in touch with us. Right, on to the Q&As.
Thank you, Dave. Let's run through some of the questions we've received.
Okay, thank you.
Do you think BIM will continue or die out in the coming years?
Okay, yeah. So I think the term BIM may slowly die, but I think that the information management process at the core of BIM will remain and hopefully become an integral part of organisation and project processes over the coming years. I've seen much more integration of information management over the last 2, 3 years, which is great. I think, if anything, kind of the last couple of years that have been really harsh on everyone have kind of forced that collaboration and information management, which is a positive to come out of it. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, I think that does. Thank you. I've got another one just come through. How does our organisation start with implementing BIM?
Okay, so that's just the first step is to kind of discuss internally, kind of define what your BIM goals or information requirements are, what you want to get out of BIM basically. So whether it's increased efficiency, collaboration, opening up new clients, projects, all those kind of things. An external BIM consultant could take part in that, or kind of discuss after that point to kind of collate what those information requirements are. Once they're in place, then you can start to adopt some of the 19650 processes and procedures, such as naming convention, CDE process, and other aspects of the standards. Put those in place for the organisation or project.
Thank you, Dave. Another one's just popped up here. Is what software should I use for BIM?
So yeah, that's quite a broad question. So it depends whether you're talking modelling software, visualization, common data environments, or other tools. So within Tufsud, we are independent and impartial with regard to any kind of software. Really, we give our clients kind of an open view of all available software to suit their goals. So as I said, kind of discuss information requirements with the client and give them a multiple options of ways to go to suit their needs. Once you know what those requirements are, then you can get an external consultant or software provider to advise you in terms of modeling software, visualization, class detection, document production software, common data environments, all that, depending on what sort of solution it is. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question.
It does, thank you. I think that's all the questions we've got for today.
Yeah. Is there anybody else? Any other questions before we?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is there any other questions before we close this webinar? Oh, I've got one that's just come through here. What do you think about the technological application of BIMs? Right now, BIM is for common mechanical, sewerage, electrical application. Are there development in the direction of technological, i.e. power plant, process, electrical, I and C applications?
That's a very specific one related to a certain sector. I think to be honest, I'm aware of some kind of softwares that work in those. So from an MEP perspective, I've used kind of MagicCAD and a few other tools in the past. A lot of the 3D visualization tools can be used for those kinds of processes. But yeah, I think that's probably one that if you leave your details, I'll get more in depth into that question, and yeah, we'll come back to you after the webinar.
Perfect. Thanks, Dave. If we haven't got any
Anyone?
more questions,
okay.
Then, yep. Well, thanks again for joining us. I'm sure you'll agree it's an informative and interesting webinar on the topic of building information modelling, or as preferred within the industry, better information management. As mentioned earlier, you'll receive a link to a recording of today's presentation. Please get in touch to let us know if there's any other webinar subjects you would like us to cover. It's great to hear exactly what you're interested in hearing about. Feel free to get in touch with Dave or send any queries to info.uk@tuvsud.com. Please feel free to visit our website www.tuvsud.com/UK for more information. On behalf of myself and our presenters, thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you all.